Welcome back now. This is still the press coming to you live from the Abuja studios of KAFTAN TV. Right about now we have Obadiah Mbila, the founder, the chairman of Love Work Media. He's here in the studio with us to do justice to some of the headlines that we have read to you. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Francis.
You're welcome to the studio.
Good to have you again. All right, now quite a lot has happened over the past few days, and we have just less than 7 days to the
inauguration. To the inauguration.
Yeah, to the inauguration, and in the midst of so many drama at the tribunal, the chaos that happened last week between the Abure faction and the Apapa faction, and just recently so another person has come out to declare himself chairman of the Labour Party. But that aside, the big story on the front pages of most of our national dailies and on the lips of every Nigerian is the imminent commencement of operations of the DANGOTE refinery, and most Nigerians have commended the efforts by Alhaji Aliko Dangote. Meanwhile, some Nigerians are talking about some of the impact this is going to cause in terms of environmental impact, and also the jobs it's going to create. What are your thoughts on this? Let's get started from there before we go deep into the technicalities of this of the commencement of the Dangote refinery.
Yeah, I think we should applaud the initiative of one single investor who had brought the many years of rural non-production of our various refinery to a good end. Let's hope that all things being equal, that the supervisory ministry or the regulating body must have taken seriously into account before approval the environmental impact assessment, and are certain that there will be no adverse effect of the waste that are going to come from the refinery. Again, like I have said in the opening sentences, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, believing that the facility is going to begin its production as it has been officially announced, has indeed wiped away our many years of tears and sorrow, and then the shame of a giant oil producing nation that has no refinery, a giant oil producing nation that can hardly have sufficient energy to power its many factories, manufacturing concern, and then household usages. The automobile owners would heave a sigh of relief if the whole story that are making the rounds is something to believe. So kudos to Alhaji Aliko Dangote.
All right. Now we begin to look at, in as much as we're very optimistic that this will make a lot of impact, and probably we'll be talking about getting rid of the fuel subsidy. At this point, do you think that there will be as much impact on the mainstream and downstream sector?
The impact of the
refinery?
The upstream have never had challenges. It is the downstream that have been having challenges. Any challenge that is coming from upstream has to do with crude theft, which I doubt will automatically find its end with the coming on board of the DANGOTE refinery. I have said this on air, and I'll repeat it now. Those that steal oil are not ordinary
citizens,
people. They are not street guys. They are not area boys. The oil theft business has always found its root with the elites, with those who make the policy in that industry, with those who have technical know-how of how that industry works. So are they going to stop because Dangote refinery is now on board? No, I don't envisage that. It is not going to stop until government muster the real power, the political will to say, let's end this, because they know themselves. Those that are involved know themselves. There are those who has no business in this country, but they are living big. They are flying on private aircraft, and have houses scattered in Europe and in Dubai and other places. They get this money from oil theft. They steal our crude, bring their badge, upload, and then zoom off from our shores, go out there, make their money, and come back for another. So in my own personal investigation, I have discovered that it's a racket. It involves those we send to the creek so that they can monitor the movement of our crude. So the military are involved, the businessmen are involved, the politicians are involved, and then of course those who have good knowledge of the industry, the technical knowledge of the industry are involved. And then to crack it simply means you need to bring someone who is independent, who does not have anything to do with this racket. All right.
Now let's look at the Petroleum Industry Act, that is the PIA. Now, you know, it is stated in there for subsidy to be taken off, and if the subsidy is taken off, there is a projection of PMS to go for as high as 750 naira per liter. Do you think the commencement of this operation of this Dangote refinery will have any impact on the price of PMS per liter? Because obviously the economy of Nigeria today, the PMS price, the prices of PMS, if it's going high, it trickles down to every other sector of the economy. Everybody on the food chain feels the impact. Do you think the commencement of this of the Dangote refinery, do you think it will have any impact on the prices, on the price of PMS, even if the subsidy is taken off?
Yeah, let's put the whole thing in perspective. The removal of the subsidy has been a Herculean task, because the beneficiaries of the subsidy are also those policymakers. So that is the reason why it has not been easy to remove the subsidy. Then the other side of the subsidy removal has to do with what will become of the those in the labor sector, the common man, on the street. What's going to be the impact? Certainly, the pump price of the petroleum products will go up as soon as the subsidy is removed. But most of us who have done critical analysis of what would become of common Nigerians with the regime of oil subsidy removal realize that it is better we suffer the impact, the negative impact though, of the oil subsidy removal than to continue to allow the hawks to feed on our ignorance. Most labor leaders believe that the removal of the oil subsidy will entail, will bring suffering to those that are in the labor sector. Yes, it's going to happen, but at least it will remove those that feed from this subsidy regime. It will remove them in business. That said, I want to say that Dangote Refinery is a private entity, and the owner of the initiative is a businessman. He is in business to make profit. Now, there is no guarantee that he will sell in Nigeria when the price is not favorable. If the price is more favorable in Niger, for example, or in Cameroon, because he's in business to make profit, he will likely want to sell in Niger or Cameroon than to sell in Nigeria. So I have not seen the coming on board of this Dangote industry as a final solution to our petroleum challenges, you know. But I have also seen the coming on board of Dangote Refinery as a challenge to government to say, oh look, NNPC, if a single individual can do this, you too can do even more.
You know, that's the question I wanted to ask you, because I was going to say, if an individual can actually bring up a project like this, even if it took them 8 years or more to actually get this running and started, why is it taking us forever to actually bring back to life already existing refineries that we have? Like, they're already in existence, we just need to bring them back to life. Why is it taking us forever to actually bring them back to life? Because if you look at so much optimism that's associated with this Dangote refinery, tomorrow, just like you said, he's a businessman that is in this business to make profits. A lot of money have gone down into the project, which is, I think, estimated to be about $21 billion has gone down into this project, which means that he is not just investing to not make returns. He's going to definitely look forward to making returns. So while we are being optimistic that we now have probably an end to the fuel scarcity and all of this drama, do you really think that it will really serve us? Will Nigerians be able to afford it by the time the price is out and subsidy is off?
I know that all this period we have been importing at least not less than 90% of our product requirement, local product petroleum requirement has been being imported. The coming on board of the Dangote refinery simply means the amount of money we spend in importation supposed to reduce. I use the word supposed to reduce because if Dangote decide today to sell where the price is higher, it simply means that we will continue to depend on imported products. So that means our agony is not yet over.
Very well.
The other side of the Dangote industry is that I think at a certain stage in the establishment of the factory, he reached out to the NNPC, and there was understanding that NNPC should invest in the refinery. And I know at a stage, because of the politicking or politicization of that NNPC investment in a private concern, they decided to go low. 20%. So that the amount of money they have invested is not yet known to us. They realize that further debate on should NNPC invest or should they not invest might throw the entire process to a stop. So I think they decided to do the business Nicodemously, so quietly that the peeping eye of you media guys would not understand what they have done behind the scene.
Behind the scene.
Yeah. So, to the extent NNPC are part of the investment, I believe they will also have influence over Dangote and say, look, we are together in this business. You have to sell to us what others from overseas have not been selling. It has to come down. You know, that's as gentlemen as they can go. But like I said, the bottom line is that the man is in this to make money.
It's just very, sorry to cut you, it's just very funny, the fact that Dangote Refinery is going to be producing 650,000 barrels per day, and we do not know the quantity we consume as a nation per day. Please, let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, Al-Hassan, and good morning, Mr. Francis.
Good morning to you.
Good morning to you. You're welcome to
you
the
are
house.
on to SND from Lagos. And my sincere regards to our senior Elder Obadia. And Elder Obadia, I give you what we consider as standing ovation for being realistic. Even though you're not seeing me, but I'm standing up for you right now as an respect. I really appreciate your contribution of being realistic. Thank you very much. May Almighty Allah continues to bless you and protect.
Amen.
And let me respond to the issue of this Dangote refinery. Thank you very much. Let us, like Obadia made mention, I'm sorry, our elder made mention, that it's something that we need to appreciate. Of course, really, we must have to appreciate Dangote for being an individual business entity, and to come up with this initiative is a big development. And I hope and pray our Nigerian government, especially the NNPC, will look at, we study everything with what entrepreneurs consider as SWOT, I mean SWOT analysis, to check out the strength, the weakness, the opportunity, and the threat, so that possibly before the end of this new administration, maybe our two refineries will begin to work. I want them to look at it that way. That is by the way. And also they should put certain conditions that citizens will also benefit, even though Dangote is a businessman like our elder made mention. He'll never mind even if you can give him the opportunity to do 3 times of what he do today. Because he's a businessman and he's ready to invest. You understand? So that is the difference between a businessman and the government. Government is not a business agency. What governments do is to create an enabling environment for everybody. That is why I always cry about Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission. At least, what are they doing? Where are they? You understand? So these are the things they should look at, and I want them to look at that SWOT analysis and check out possibly maybe before the end of this tenure, our 2 or 1 of our refinery will be working. Who knows? Lastly, the issue of lobby to relieve debt in Nigeria. I quite appreciate that, and it's part of the political ingredient to put in lobby and reconciliation and dialogue. If as well as we do that for Nigeria, just similar to what Obasanjo did, definitely this administration will not be forgotten. Thank you very much. I remain SND from Lagos, and I wish you all the best.
All right, thank you for your contribution. Before I send the code, I was expressing the fact that Dangote Refinery is going to be producing 650,000 barrels per day, but we can't account for the quantity of fuel consumptions we use daily in Nigeria.
I think it's deliberate. The National Bureau for Statistics is an agency that's supposed to have access to every sector, to every ministry, department and agency, including government corporations. What that means is that if it was a government that is willing to tell us what is happening, all that is happening, not just what is happening, all that is happening, which is what transparency in business demands, they should have by now been able to know exact quantity that we extract the quantity that we send to our ailing refineries, the quantity we export to various countries where the demand is. And then also let us know the quantity that they import at any given time, and then the distribution ratio, how it is distributed. And of course, if there is any amount of petroleum product that come from our ailing refinery, we should be able to know that, look, we imported 70% and 30% came from our ailing refineries. We don't have all these statistics. Is it strange? No. We are running a government that is embedded in corruption. It does appear that every individual who comes with a noble intention, who wants to sanitize the system, is usually corrupted even before he carries out every agenda he had in mind. I have had opportunity to intermingle, interact with those that are in government and those that are in parliament. And I remember a principal officer of the National Assembly who was so determined to make a change in the life of, in his life, I mean, using his own life as an example, so that he will be a challenge to others. Just 2-3 months into his tenure, and we interacted. I remember him saying, look, this is not a place you can carry out your good intention, because not only you will step on toes, you will be frustrated. So the depth of corruption is such that it has become a norm. It has become a lifestyle. Someone was telling me what's going to happen with the new members of the National Assembly as they're taking their seats. The civil servants will begin to buy houses, vehicles, whether they need it or not. In the process, they would baptize the newcomers with how the system operates.
And make them rubber stamp as well.
You can understand. So sometimes, by the time you come with a genuine intention, before you set out to carry it out, you discover that there is a fire that is already indicting you unless you play according to the style of the system. So if you say, look, you are going to open up the can of worm, well, don't forget that they have roped you in also. So you can't deny that you are not part of the system. The question is, they're going to ask you, are you not part of us? So
are you not benefiting from
exactly. You know, so at that point you find that you are helpless. You just have to put your head high and play along with them.
All right, now let's move on to other stories now. This one here we have don't judge me based on performance as minister. This is coming from Senator Godswill Akpabio. We all know the scrambling for the seat of the Senate presidency, for the 10th Senate, and the fight for other principal offices. Here, Senator Godswill Akpabio has said he would prefer to be judged by his record as a lawyer for 36 years, a commissioner for 6 years, and a governor for 8 years, not with his short stint as the minister of the Niger Delta. But then in that short stint, a whole lot happened. A whole lot happened that beats the imagination of an average Nigerian man. In that short stint, we had the honorable, please off your mic scene. In that short stint, we had one of the I think one of the directors of the Niger Delta caught in the web of the embezzlement of misappropriation of over 80 billion naira. And here he's asking Nigerians not to judge him by his short stint as the minister of as the minister of Niger Delta. Let's not forget the fact that there has been a whole lot of accusation that there has been a bazaar of money sharing as the scramble for the seat of the Senate presidency is getting tougher, heading on to the inauguration of the 10th Senate. What are your thoughts on this?
The person of Senator Godswill Boat Akpabio struggled to put his name as a performing governor when he was the governor of Akwa Ibom State. That status as a governor, he's not answerable to anybody, so to speak, not even to the parliament, the state senate, as they call it in other clime, because the governors have succeeded in eclipsing the power of the state assembly. So the lawmakers at the state assembly,
they are answerable to the governor.
That's right.
Whereas we have some states whereby the all the seats in the state house of assembly are occupied by the governors by the governors men and the governors party.
Yeah. So even those that are not members of his party, when they commenced the parliament, you discover that before 1 or 2 years,
point, they will have to join,
because it's a question of saying, you want to eat or you don't, and then you think of spending 4 years just watching your colleague who are loyal to the governor eating, and you are starving. You just have to bend your standard so that you can fit in. So back to Akpabio as an individual, he made a name as uncommon performing governor of Akwa Ibom State. But I think it was from there that he beat by to performance. As a minister of the Niger Delta, he has no good record. There's no doubt about that. And those that want to tell the truth knows that even as he is pursuing his Senate presidency interest, the EFCC are still
on his trail.
And no one is talking about this. In a sane environment, he's supposed to have finished answering the EFCC before embarking on such a project like presiding officer, the number 3 citizen in the country. So it beats my imagination that in Nigeria today, it is no longer we no longer feel that corruption is wrong. We feel it is a question of saying, I'm not as corrupt as you are. Not that I'm not corrupt, but I'm not as corrupt as you are.
My hands are not as dirty as yours.
You know, so those who go to equity must come with clean hands. I thought that Godswill Boat Akpabio should have his head very, very high as he exit from the Niger Delta ministry. He will now say, look, I have served faithfully. I have done what I'm supposed to do. But there are many questions that have been left unanswered. He ran the NDDC like the administrator of the NDDC, appointing whoever he wants, of course his boys, to preside, to superintend over the work of NDDC. The whole place was in a mess. But let's pray that Nigerians will not, like he asked, judge him by his performance in Niger Delta, because he failed.
All right. Now let's talk about because you mentioned unanswered questions. Let's talk about this. It says failed Abuja CCTV project. Court orders FG to account for $460 million Chinese loan that was supposed to be meant for CCTV projects in Abuja. You said in Abuja. I don't know if any CCTV has been installed around your environment, and you know.
Several years ago, I was coming out from the National Assembly. You know, and then my attention was drawn to certain installation that was going on, and then when I asked questions, oh, that's the CCTV.
For the Chinese
I said, wonderful. Here Abuja has come. Here Abuja have qualified.
Maybe there are different locations that are supposed to be regarded as Abuja and not the entire Abuja in that case.
Well, from my understanding of what this loan was meant to accomplish, it was to install CCTV in every nook and cranny of Abuja. There was no place that was said to be outside this project. The project was to capture every aspect, every sector, every section of Abuja, including the satellite towns. But I think after the brouhaha of installation, never for one day did they test run it and say, oh, look, this thing is working. Nobody test run it. They after the few installations at the highbrow area, the whole thing ended. Nobody accounted for that money up to this time that someone has summoned up courage to take the FCT to court.
Now
the money was domiciled in FCT, mind you.
Mr. Mbila, let's look at it from the aspect of someone summoning courage to question the use of the money. Now this is coming at a time where the administration where this loan was obtained is leaving office in the next 7 days.
No. I don't think it was the Buhari administration that took that loan.
Okay.
The loan was taken, I think, under the administration of either Yaradua or Goodluck Jonathan.
Now if the loan was taken under the administration
or was approved,
if the loan was approved,
yes,
as far back as Yaradua or Goodluck Jonathan, that means we are looking at 10 years
or more.
Yeah, right now. Why did it take less than 7 days to the end of an administration before an investigation, or before the issue is taken before the court? Now, could it be that you just said the money is domiciled in the account of the FCT, of the FCT? Could it be that there's a foul play going on with the money right now? Because in this same period, we've seen funny approvals. We've seen the president of the Senate saying that they are willing to give approval for Buhari's proposed $800 million subsidy palliative loan, the loan to cushion the effects of the subsidy removal. In this same period, we have seen the NPC, the Nigerian Census Board, saying that even with the fact that the census did not hold, they spent well over 200 billion naira. Yet there was no census. It's 7 days to the end of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, and someone is just taking the FCT to court. Are you seeing it from the perspective of possibly there could be a foul play here?
No, I think we must understand this, that government is a continuum, and if they are taking the matter up now, it's not too late. I remember very well the explosion of 2011, if you recall. After the explosion, there was agitation to query this particular loan. There was an agitation to ask, where is the functionality of this CCTV? In fact, it was that explosion of that time. You know, there was explosion here and there in Nyanya, in every other part of Abuja. People started questioning the CCTV project. But I think there was no one that was coming up to take the matter to court just like this one. As for interrogating the loan, people have been interrogating the loan before now. The activists have been talking about
I think I just confirmed that the loan was taken in 2010, but the suit has been in court since 2019.
Okay.
So the judgment was only given recently.
Very good. Thank you for the confirmation, because I know, I was very, very sure that they started doing something.
Yes.
With the abracadabra. And then people raised eyebrow when this explosion was taking place all over Abuja. And say, where is our CCTV? Just imagine that this loan came by 2010, and up till now, nothing is said about this project. It's quite sad that we live in a country and we have everything to look better than others, and things are going this way. And it's now becoming our national character to be corrupt.
All right, now let's look at other issues ahead of the inauguration in less than 7 days, and the Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima has said Tinubu will run an all-inclusive administration. Now, I like to see things from the two sides of the coin, because recently we've been very big on the issue of inclusiveness, inclusion. Should we sacrifice capacity on the altar of inclusion at this point of our existence as a nation?
Yeah, both are very, very, very important. First of all, we should talk of capacity, competence, and then character. And then also within the scheme of thing in government, we must ask the question whether the government is all inclusive. There is nothing as bad as when you don't have popular participation. You only look at your kinsmen, give them appointment, imagine what President Buhari did in the his first tenure. All his appointments were skewed to favor a certain section. And when he was confronted, you can't believe his answer. He said that's where he found those that are qualified. I don't want to believe that our president was sincere back then, because in this country, education began in the West. It continued, it exploded when it came to the East. And up to this moment, we are still waiting for North to rise up and embrace education the way it should be. And I'm not happy about the backwardness of the North, because I was telling my children, look, why I want to assist our other extended family members to be educated is that if you are the only one that is educated in this large family, then you are in for trouble. The other members of the family that are not as educated as you are will become envious of you, and they will attack you. So for us to avoid them attacking you, hunting after you, we must also uplift, we must upgrade, we must help them to come up. That is my idea about education in the North. The North is still far behind. Some of their of them are not even looking at education as a necessary step towards development and civilization. Worst is they are still practicing this idea of giving the girl child into marriage very early, and the male counterpart appears to enjoy that early marriage, stunting the growth of these girls. Yet they can advance the religion as the reason. This same religion they are dancing as reason is the same religion that is obtainable in an emirate like Dubai. Dubai is not a country, it's just an emirate, a part of a bigger country. When you go to Dubai and see the advancement they have made in tech, oh my God, you begin to ask, is their own Islam different from the one we have in our own country, where girls are still being expected to marry at the tender age of 12, 13, when in Dubai those Muslims are researching, some of them are inching towards going to the mass. Some of them are specializing in space objects,
artificial technology,
artificial intelligence, and so on and so forth. So what is it that has bewitched us? Here we take religion, and we are not better than them in the practice of religion. They are far, far better than us. They do zakat in such a way that you know that, look, these people budget for zakat. Here we compel people, push them to go and do zakat, remind them that it is their religious obligation. There, a growing child already knows that zakat is part of, in fact, they have embedded it in their character. So, education is key to what we need to bring a balance. And therefore, while I advocate for competence, I also want inclusiveness to be part of the government of Asiwaju.
Okay, so what are you looking up to for Monday, May 29th? It's almost here. What do you think of the events? Besides, and do you think he's going to be announcing his ministers almost immediately? Because it took Buhari 6 months to actually announce who the ministers are going to be working with him. So do you think for the president-elect, do you think he's going to hit the ground running with those that are going to be working with him alongside?
Yeah, well, you know, in this country, we are gaining the reputation of working against our constitution. I wouldn't want to wish Asiwaju so far the constitution has been manipulated here and there. I don't wish we continue to manipulate the constitution. The constitution requires that the president send the list of his ministers to the National Assembly for scrutiny. You know, what was not very clear in the past, which I believe he would want to approach in a better way, is that when you send the list of these ministers, they don't usually attach a corresponding portfolio. They just send the minister. We don't know why we are screening you. We don't know whether you are a round peg for a round hole. We just screen you and you go. And any ministry can be attached to your portfolio. I expect Asiwaju, as a very intelligent man, that as he send his list to the National Assembly, he should attach the portfolio of this one, so that when they are being screened by the lawmakers, they can now ask, look, you are being called to pretend over the aviation ministry.
All right, now, Mr. Obadiah, a whole lot still needs to be said, but our time has obviously played a fast one on us, and we really do hope that some other time we would have more time to go deeper into these issues. And that will be all for today's episode of your #1 newspaper program, The Press, coming to you live from the Abuja studios of KAFTAN TV. My name is Francis Adeni. Do want to have a beautiful day ahead.
And I am Olamide Al Hassan. Do have a great day ahead.